they've purchased almost 600 million ounces in the past 2.5 years. Let's put it to you that way. They are voraciously accumulating silver, and I don't think that we've seen anything yet. I really don't. And I think that this is why we're seeing the bankers show up at the Shanghai Metals Exchange. This is why we're seeing them bleed down in all of the exchanges. And I think there is a rush on for gold and silver. I think gold and silver have become, and commodities in general, have become more valuable than currency. And I think that's what this is. This is the Zoltan Pozsar, statement that this is Bretton Woods 3.
President Joe Biden's recent decision has implications far beyond the immediate geopolitical landscape. Financial analysts like Andy Schectman of Miles Franklin are closely watching the potential impact on precious metals markets. Schectman points out that geopolitical tensions typically drive investors towards gold and silver as safe havens, potentially boosting their prices during times of uncertainty. He emphasizes the significant role of these metals in various industries, including green technologies and digital applications, highlighting their enduring value. As the situation develops, the focus in the financial sector is on how these global uncertainties might enhance the appeal of gold and silver. Schectman and other market watchers predict a possible surge in demand for these metals, positioning them as crucial assets in an increasingly volatile world. Now, we'll show you the best clips of the latest interview, but first, smash the subscribe button, turn on notifications, and hit the like button. Enjoy the episode.
Your companies in Beijing itself, we're okay with you being friends. Well, thank you, Madam Secretary. That's great. But point of it is that we're hypocritical, and it is not our position to sanction. It's a whole nother thing to confiscate. And at that point, you've broken the glass into a million pieces. You'll never put it back together, ever. You have destroyed, in essence, all the trust the goodwill and the trust that we have accumulated over last 100 years. We've destroyed it with one fell swoop, and no one, especially in the Southern Hemisphere, will ever trust us again. And when you talk about openly acknowledging to the public that we will give the Ukraine, not only provide the weapons, but tell them it's okay to fire these high-tech weapons into Russia, we've lost our damn mind. And you put all politics aside, I don't care which side of the aisle would be idiotic enough to do something like this. It's just plain out stupidity. And we should have all listened to Thomas Jefferson when he said, stay the hell out of everyone else's affairs. We should have brought every one of these troops home, close the 700 or whatever military bases we have in 80 countries around the world, bring all these people home to build up our infrastructure and to protect our borders and stop meddling in other people's affairs. And this is something, you're messing with one of the largest nuclear arsenals on the planet and pushing them against a wall when you're saying that Finland and Sweden and the Ukraine talking about NATO and giving bad enough to give military aid and to provide money and intelligence and all of the things that, when we don't have boots on the ground, right? Well, now we're doing the next best thing or the next worst thing and giving them high-tech weaponry and the okay to fire them into Russia. It's insanity. It's truly insane. This country and its leaders, rather, have lost their mind as far as I'm concerned. And it's far more distressing to me, the things that our leaders have done, both inside the country and destabilizing it in every way that we all know about, and doing this idiotic stuff, than any of the monetary and fiscal ills that the Federal Reserve or the addiction to spending federal government has. We could get by that if we were still the country that was still revered and respected by the rest of the world. We're losing our respect, we're losing our trust, and we're losing our minds. And unfortunately, there's a lot of concern and rightfully so to be scared about this. And it's not understating it to say you're scared. I think everyone would be scared if they understand exactly. I don't think many people even have read that article. It's the first I've heard of it. The fact that that's happening is just mind-boggling to me. We will choose inflation over austerity, when we will choose the printing press and the devaluation of the dollar in order to pay off the debt. And it just destroys the value of the bond market, destroys the value of the dollar. Why would anyone want to hold it long-term when we are choosing to devalue the dollar. But this is not a new concept. That's what Roosevelt did in 33. He confiscated people's gold and then devalued the dollar by 40%. And I think that's a high probability, and in essence, this is what the head banker at the Dutch National Bank said: we should revalue the price of gold. In essence, you devalue the currency against gold. It's not you're revaluing gold, you're devaluing your currency. Yeah, I think that's exactly what they would want to do. He also said he would impose sanctions on countries that want to move away from the dollar and align with the BRICS, as an example. I mean, you can't continue to go around the world making these kinds of decisions, and I think that's what is spurring on the group of the BRICS and the 36 more countries that have formally applied. I think that the way that the U.S. does things is getting long in the tooth, and when you have accumulated as much debt as we have, most of it at the lowest interest rates in human history, to continue to go back to that again, you will destroy all confidence in the Fed. You will destroy all confidence in the dollar and blow up the bond market. Who in their right mind would ever want to trust us again if we do these kinds of things? But it is what he will do, I think.
In a world where money moves like waves, Andy Schectman, a big player in the precious metals market, shines a light on gold and silver, not just as shiny objects, but as safe harbors in stormy financial seas. As the CEO of Miles Franklin Precious Metals, Andy knows a thing or two about safeguarding your savings. Recently, gold broke past the $2,100 mark, heading towards $2,200, and silver isn't far behind, making impressive leaps itself. This isn't just about making a quick buck. It's about building a fortress around your future in uncertain times. Andy dives deep into the BRICS nations playbook: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, who are quietly moving their chess pieces across the global economic board. By swapping U.S. Treasury bonds for gold, these countries are stepping away from the dollar, aiming for a future where their financial security isn't tied to the whims of the West. This big shift isn't just a power move, it's a clear sign they're preparing for a world where gold and silver might just be the kings of the financial jungle. The conversation then turns to something out of a spy novel: blockchain technology. This isn't about buying your next pizza with Bitcoin. The BRICS are plotting to use this tech to make money moves without ringing the bells of Western banks, sidestepping the traditional SWIFT system. It's a glimpse into a future where transactions are faster, cheaper, and most importantly, under the radar of the powers that be. Now we'll show you more clips of Schectman. Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to be informed, and check our pinned comment if you're thinking about trading some Bitcoin so you can take advantage of our sign-up bonuses. Enjoy the video.
90 billion held in the European Union, and they're trying to do the same thing. The last I heard is they want to take all the interest that is held, that is occurring or accruing from the bonds and assets that they've confiscated or sanctioned or frozen, and take those proceeds, just the interest, which amounts to a few billion a year, and give it to the Ukraine as well. The European Union's lost their mind. And so when India buys all that gold and silver, that's, I think, a natural reaction. It becomes more so when you see them bring all their gold back quietly from the Bank of England. Give us back our gold. We don't trust you any longer. We don't trust that you're going to hold it the way that we want. And if we don't align ideologically, you guys in the West have proven and shown your colors that, just like, I don't remember what was it, Venezuela, that wanted to get their gold back from the Bank of England. They said, no, sorry, can't have it. So I think when you talk about gold and silver being assets that are not simultaneously someone's liability, it's very true, unless it's held in the vaults of the Bank of England or the New York Fed. We've seen the same thing happen here in the United States, where Saudi Arabia and several other African and Arab states have repatriated their gold from the New York Fed recently. And before that, we saw the Dutch National Bank, the Bank of Austria, Hungary, Turkey, Poland. They all did the same thing, following the Bundesbank's lead in 2010 and 11. That would have been 2017 and 18. So repatriating of gold and silver is not a new trend, but it's one that is accelerating, as is the accumulation of assets. They've purchased almost 600 million ounces in the past 2.5 years. Let's put it to you that way. They are voraciously accumulating silver, and I don't think that we've seen anything yet. I really don't. And I think that this is why we're seeing the bankers show up at the Shanghai Metals Exchange. This is why we're seeing them bleed down in all of the exchanges. And I think there is a rush on for gold and silver. I think gold and silver have become, and commodities in general, have become more valuable than currency. And I think that's what this is. This is the Zoltan Pozsar, statement that this is Bretton Woods 3, that this is a system where you can see the drive to accumulate commodities is now moving into a higher gear. And so much so that they can't hold silver down at the end of a month. They can't bring it down below 30. So I'm not saying that it couldn't happen tomorrow, but what I am saying, it just seems that the whole system is playing under a new set of rules. I think that the potential for silver to outperform people's expectations is huge. When it happens, I don't know. But when it does happen, the speed in which it moves, I think, will freak people out. Those people that have been lulled to sleep over its lack of movement and its counterintuitive movement, largely because of suppression. It's no different than suppressing interest rates and looking at all the distortions in asset prices. You distort the price of silver, suppress it, you get people just figuring it's a dead asset. And as you can see by India and China and all of the other countries accumulating it and repatriating it, and that it's not. And in fact, when it gets a chance to fully express itself, I think it will be quite something to see.
What do you think of today's show? Is Schectman spot on in his theory that silver will massively boom in 2024 and 2025, or is he wrong and you'll lose your shirt if you buy at these prices? Post in the comment section your honest opinion and watch this video right here because it's a perfect fit for you. I see you on the other side.